And welcome to Peeling the Banana. I'm so sorry I'm late, and we started 28 minutes late. But today we welcome on the No Filter Network. Thank you to Eric Burns and his crew. We welcome Sarah Edwards. How are we doing, Sarah?
I'm doing well. Lucky to finally be here.
No, I am grateful and appreciative that you want to be um, on this amazing podcast, on this amazing platform. And kind of just shoot the shit and let's see where sports, softball, baseball has taken you. So
hmm
let's start by let's take it overseas because that's kind of where we first connected is through baseball jobs overseas. Um, and I don't even remember how we connected other than Uh, was it
Like
on
me
the
being
website? Was
in,
it on the website or
yeah.
was it through social media? Because I also know on social media I saw that you were a representative of BBJL.
Yeah, so with BBJO, I have a lot of hats to put on my head, but one of them is the profile creation process. So I must have been the one that created your profile. Maybe you might have reached out to me like for additional info, or I might have reached out to you if I didn't have anything. Yeah, I don't remember how we connected
I
on
have no
Instagram.
idea. All I know is
Oh, I actually remember now. I was talking with the Bananas because the Savannah
mm,
Bananas had reached out to me saying that they wanted to take on a couple of full-time female
women.
players,
Hmm.
and I knew that you had that experience because you signed up with BBJO. So then I had actually reached out to you to ask you a little bit about
That's
that.
funny. And you were invited to a tryout, I believe, something
Yeah,
like
and then I
that.
was like deathly ill. I had the worst sinus infection I've had since I was probably a little kid. So I ended up not going, but yeah, I was invited.
Well, all in all, I don't think because there are rumors they were going to try and sign. I don't even know her first name. Alo. They were gonna try and get
Jocelyn,
her.
yeah.
Yeah, Jocelyn. They were trying to
hmm
get her, and that I don't think that happened, or at least I haven't seen it yet.
I know I haven't
But
seen any females on their field yet. Yeah,
no, just a sold out Minute Maid Park and sold out shows still to come.
so cool.
Um,
Yeah.
if you do ever get another chance, I say at least check it out. Um,
hmm
it's an experience worthwhile as far as the show goes, and I think you'd kill it. And maybe you could teach the guys a little bit about professional baseball because most of them have never been in affiliate professional baseball. So the
Yeah.
fact that you had your opportunity last year to 2023,
hmm
you were signed on with the Phillies, and what was your role?
I was a hitting development coach with the FCL rookie staff.
So you
Um,
were mainly in Florida?
I was in Clearwater the whole time. I took 1 week where I went up to AAA just to like experience that. And the Phillies were really nice for letting me do that because it was like very random. And I had just hit it off with their hitting coach in AAA during spring training. And then he was like, yeah, you should come visit. So we organized that like out of the blue 1 week in May. But for the rest of the time, I was in Clearwater.
So did you have to go through a whole interview process?
hmm I was actually reached out to on LinkedIn for not a coaching job. It was just like a video tech associate role. And I figured it's a foot in the door. Like, I'll take the phone call
Hmm.
definitely. And then my interviewer was a woman. She was the assistant player development director. And like having known about Rachel Balkovic growing up, because I'm from New York. So having known about her with the Yankees for a long time and then playing overseas and having some like former teammates of mine also get into pro ball. So seeing more and more women get their foot in the door, I during that phone call, I was like, I would rather coach than do
Like
the video thing. So yeah.
interesting. So your friends are in baseball? Is this professional baseball or is this softball?
hmm Baseball. Yeah. So
Baseball.
there's one girl, Zoe Hicks, who connected with us through BBJO and she played in Holland. So I knew of her and then she signed to coach with the Dodgers. And then another girl, Gretchen O'Coin, who's not a BBJO member, but I've known her since 2018. We played against each other in Italy and also in New Zealand. I believe she's still with the Mets for maybe her third or fourth year now with the Mets as a coach.
That is so cool. Okay, so as a
Yeah.
hitting instructor going on with the Phillies, did they ask you what your hitting philosophy is? I mean, how do you go from softball to baseball, and how do you, I guess, kind of make that transition? Like, is there a big difference between the two as far as hitting goes?
Um, it really depends on who you ask what the difference really is and how big it is. I'm kind of in between where I do think there is a difference just because the pitching is obviously different. The field is shorter, the bats are lighter, stuff like that. Also, just like what a line drive means as like a definition to me, a line drive has always been like 0 degrees would be a line drive in softball. In baseball, it's like it starts at 9 degrees and works up to like, you know what I mean? Because zero
We want
degrees,
launch
you're making
angle.
it to the infield. Yeah, but it's also like if you hit a ball 0 degrees, what's the chance of it making it through the infield on that line? You know,
Well, it
so
depends on your exit velo, and then we go
you
to
got to
exit
hit it
velo.
really
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
If you barrel a ball, you minimize the time a defense can react to that ball, and that increases your chances of getting a hit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what I
But
was taught. I was taught hit the ball in the barrel, so you hit it hard, so you minimize the time the defense has to get to your ball.
of course, yeah. I mean, that's all you can really do. Like you can't be so caught up in the exact results. You just got to try to hit it hard. Yeah.
That's
Swing hard in case you hit it. That's like a big coffee
it.
quote, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what I was just in Mesa for a 12U tournament, and one of the kids swung and missed really hard, like fell down to a knee, and Eric Burns is at third base coach like, "Hey man, swing hard in case you hit it." So I
There
mean,
you go.
it's all we're teaching the kids, teach them
Yeah.
young. Like they don't really have an approach, just see ball, hit ball, get a good pitch to hit, and swing hard.
And that's it. I think a lot of the philosophies go both ways. It's not like baseball and softball are two completely different worlds. I grew up with a lot of male coaches who had baseball backgrounds, so it's like we heard a lot of the same stuff growing up.
So, are you also playing baseball, or have you played baseball?
I started playing baseball last year with Team USA. We had some camps and then we had the World Cup qualifiers in Thunder Bay. And then this year it's basically like the same thing, camps and then the World Cup finals. But other than that, it's not like there's baseball leagues in Europe for women. So actually in Italy, you can't play baseball as a woman. Above the age of 14, you can't play baseball.
Uh-oh. Why?
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's a good question. I
Is
haven't
that
asked
just
that
the
myself.
male-female thing of not being equal, or I mean, that's just what it sounds like to me. It's like, yeah, women aren't deserving of baseball in Italy.
I think there's no Title IX in Italy like there is in America. I think Italy's kind of behind on that in a way. But they just figured, well, you have softball, so you have a space for yourself already. Like, why do you have to play baseball? But even if it was like rec baseball, like Division 4, since it's under the Italian Baseball Federation, they all have the same rules, and I wouldn't be able to play.
And so you've been playing softball for how many years in Italy?
This will be my 6th season in Italy. I started in 2018.
Are you an Italy citizen? Are you an Italian citizen? But you're not born there, right? You just got it from living there for so long?
Well, I didn't really have to ever live here or step foot in Italy. I just have family like heritage. So when I came over for the first time in 2018, I was just on an American passport with a sports visa. And the Italian national team coach, I caught his eye playing and he pulled me aside, asked me if I was Italian. And I, said yes. And then they helped me go through and kind of expedite the passport process. Because for me, it goes back like 5 generations. Like my great grandparents were born in Sicily. So it's not like I really have any connection in Italy. Yeah. So it would have taken a long time, like 3 years, but we got it down to 1 year to do all of the documents and appointments and everything.
Wow. So were your great grandparents wine enthusiasts? Were they Were they on the
Like
wine
me?
farms? Do they? Yeah, I see the bottles of wine back there, and they're probably empty, and they're just
Yeah,
collectors.
yeah.
But does your family own a winery out in Italy?
No, my family has no land out in Italy. I'm really the only
Out
one
in
that
the
we know of.
Sicilian lands and
Yeah.
farms and hills.
No, I think we were always peasants, so I don't think we owned very much. We
Mm,
weren't really business savvy.
started from the bottom, now we're here. All right.
Yeah.
And now you're thriving in Italy, though. So you permanently
Mhm.
live there? Or
Technically,
are
yes.
you kind of like
Yeah.
half-half, America, Italy?
I go
I
back and
mean,
forth. Yeah. I mean, for the long run, I'm here as long as I'm like happy here, obviously.
mhm.
But I definitely want to continue my coaching career as well. I would love another opportunity to coach in the MLB. So then if that takes me away and takes me back to America, I wouldn't be mad. But Italy's always like the place to settle. So if I do
Wow.
end up with a career in the MLB, then like the off seasons I'll probably always spend here anyway. Yeah. It's so nice also getting an American salary and living in Italy. It's so comfortable.
That's what I'm
Because it's
saying, because
like,
everything's cheaper in
yeah,
Europe, right?
so cheap. Yeah.
And I bet politics are a little better there too. I bet the food's way better. It's cleaner every time. So is it true
Hmm.
every time people from America go to Europe, I always hear people eat a lot, but they come back weighing less.
Skinnier. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the food, I think, is more organic, more real, more raw,
Hmm.
more like it's just in Europe. There's more rules on the use of pesticides and GMOs,
Hmm. The
and so
same
you,
brand will have different, like you'll taste Fanta in America and even look at a bottle of Fanta in Italy and it's a completely different color. It's not as like solid orange because they
mhm.
can't put the same stuff in it. So yeah, the
Yeah,
regulations make these companies change their recipes.
yeah,
And here, like, you're having all those like red dye 40 in America
right,
that's causing cancer that you can't put in these foods and drinks here. So yeah.
right. Hence a skinny, sexy Italy compared to a fat, ugly America that we got going on right now. And we're
Yeah.
probably the sickest country in the world, even though we have all the resources. But profit comes over health here in America, unfortunately.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, it's a
Okay,
business.
I want to go back to BBJL. In 2018, is that how you got to Italy? It was through BBJL? Or were you working with
Mhm.
them already and then
So
found a
I
way to
was
Italy?
I was a member of BBJO my senior year of college in 2018. And that came about because the softball recruitment manager with BBJO at the time, Lisa Malden, she reached out to my college coach and said, "Hey, if any of your graduates are interested in this, I'd love to help them out." So I signed up out of that, and then I got a bunch of offers. I actually went to Switzerland for a couple of months before coming to Italy. And that was like a really good bridge, I think, because Switzerland is a lot more, it's less of a culture shock than Italy is for sure, coming from an
Mm,
American.
yeah.
So that was a really good like step in the way. Um, but yeah, so I was a member for the first couple of years, and then Lisa signed in Japan, and I saw like how just busy she was all the time. So then I offered like, hey, if you guys need a helping hand, and that's how I got on staff in 2021.
And
Yeah.
were you doing the same thing, like recruiting and putting together profiles, or did you start somewhere else?
So it's always been softball recruitment is like my main title is softball recruitment manager. I work with all of the softball players and all of their
Hmm.
negotiations, anything they need. And then baseball is like more of an administrative aspect. So
Okay.
working like at the back side of the website, working on profiles and stuff like that,
Hmm.
answering emails. I
Right.
do help baseball players get recruited too, but I don't have that much of the knowledge that I do or the connections that I do with softball. And
Of course.
yeah, do a little bit of everything. Now we have a newsletter that I write, so starting to
Yeah.
journal a bit too. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm hindering your journaling process, not getting my questions done in a timely manner. But I will work on that right after this. um, Shoot, what was I going to ask you? Something BBJL. So would you say the softball world, as far as going professional, is a little more active because women don't have a professional platform to play out in America? Like you have Team USA and that's about it. But it's like there's
Mm,
no professional leagues here in America like they do with baseball, with independent league, minor leagues, and overseas. Whereas softball is like after
mm,
college, as a woman, you're going right into the working class, or you're finding BBJL,
yeah.
or you're just a
Um,
badass and you can get on Team USA and be sponsored, and you can make a decent career out of that.
yeah. I think if I wanted to lean into more of like the social influencer part of it, I definitely could have, but I never really had that desire to. Um, but yeah, I think there's definitely a lot more opportunities for women to play overseas because the player market is so much smaller. Like on BBJO, we might have a 300 baseball members and only 30 softball members at a given time. So all of those softball members are going to get hit up eventually, but 300
Hmm.
baseball players, like some of them do get overlooked and don't get as much action. But then you also have to think like I was one of 6 in my graduating class, and I was the only one that didn't really have anything lined up after graduation, and that's why I was able to go play softball. I think women, it's like they know that there's no like draft that they're waiting to see if
Hmm.
they get picked up or anything. So they know that they have to figure their shit out by the end of their senior year and go start doing something else with their lives. So they're more prepared to enter the workforce, whereas men, they sell out for these pro
Yeah.
contracts, and then if you don't get it, like what are you going to do? Let's go play like overseas somewhere, you
Yeah,
know?
you play overseas or you play for pennies in independent baseball.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so the pool is larger in baseball, but would you say as a softball player, is the import rule still the same as baseball, even with less softball players?
Here in Italy, you can only have 2 foreign players that are non-European on your roster. Yeah.
Like, is that because are girls interested in playing softball in Europe a lot? Like, is that because I just don't see a lot of European girls playing softball, but like in America, like every single girl is either playing soccer, volleyball, or softball. Like, why aren't
I
they
I
allowing
mean,
more
yeah.
imports?
Speaking about Italy in particular, I don't think girls really grow up being pushed towards playing sports like they do like in America. So I think in general, women don't play as many. There are less female athletes in general, like percentage
Hmm.
of the population, you know. Um, I think it's just that they don't want to hinder the development of softball, like Italian grown softball. So it's like if they bring over all these foreign players and then there aren't as many opportunities for their own players, um, then they would be doing them a disjustice. So it's like we'll give you guys 2 spots so you can bring in foreign players who can help the growth and the level of competition of the league. But it's probably going to be spots where like you need somebody like you don't have a shortstop, so get an American one, not like you have 4 Italian shortstops, but you're going to get an American one to take all their
Mm.
spots. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
It's
I
like a
feel in
filler. It's not really.
yeah, but I feel in softball players are more interchangeable. Like just because there's 4 shortstops doesn't mean the other 3 can't play third base, outfield, first, second. Like as a
Mm-hmm.
softball player, it's almost a must that you play almost every position if you can't pitch. Because if you're a pitcher, you're gold for every single game, every single day.
Yeah. There's more, I would say there's more 2 ways in softball, though. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
I mean, when I think of softball, I just think of some highlight films of Albert Pujols striking out. Trying to hit a
that's the only
softball.
thing anyone talks about.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I have yet to face a softball pitcher.
Mm.
But there is a couple of videos viral on Instagram of that boyfriend girlfriend. She's throwing the softball and he hits it out of the park from the garage door or something,
They're
right? And pimps it.
married now. It's shoot, Riley Sartain was her maiden name was Sartain. I forget what it is now. Crap. Yeah, she's from
Well,
Texas
yeah,
A&M. I forget where he played, but yeah.
yeah, and then she pimps one off of him throwing like baseball, you know. So I mean, it's like, well, why are they playing somewhere? Like, do they play somewhere, or are they just like influencers out in the wild?
I think they coach. I don't think they maybe I feel like he played independent ball for a while. I don't know if he still does. I don't think she ever played pro ball or anything, although she could have, but I think they're
What
both
do you
coaches.
mean? She
Because
looks like
there's
a
like Athletes
natural.
Unlimited. Yeah, she's really good. There's so the two that I'm aware of pro ball opportunities in the States are Athletes Unlimited, which is like a 42 or 52 roster. Teams are interchangeable, four teams. They're in Chicago and it's like point system. And so it's not like,
So it's two
it's
leagues in two cities, and they just play like a four-team league, and then they interchange like that.
It's the whole league is called Athletes Unlimited. There's four teams, but they like call team captains each week, and then they get to
Mm.
pick their teams out of this pool of 50 players. And then it's like if your team wins, if you hit a home run, if you do this, that you get points, and then that's like I think the base salary is 20K, and then based on your points, you get paid more than that, like bonus
So
money.
20K for a regular 5-6 month season.
I think it's only like 2 or 3 months. It's pretty short. It's because it starts in June.
Shit, I'll take 20K for that.
Yeah, yeah, but they
What
take,
the
I mean,
hell?
for the most part, they take girls that are like they have 50K on Instagram, like because it's very fan based. It's very entertainment. Um,
So would you say is it similar to Banana Ball as far as if you want to go entertainment route, or are they just
right,
more?
without like the circus acts and stuff. Yeah.
So are they doing trick catches like between the legs and fancy style points on defense?
No, they should be. They should be.
I mean, I think if you're good enough and you practice it, I think you make a routine play into a trick play. You know, because
Mm-hmm.
it's something a fan will be like, "Whoa, I've never freaking seen that before on a regular baseball play." You know, every
Yeah.
once in a while, you're going to get a Bregman bounce pass it to second base, or you'll get a fancy impromptu trick play by a diving shortstop or second baseman with a glove flip or behind the back. You know, even Brandon Phillips would do it. I think he did it on purpose. I think he's the only guy that would do a trick play on purpose. Um, but I think in baseball and even in softball, I think we as fans and spectators, even as fellow teammates and players, I think we all need a little more fun in the game, and we need to be doing it
Mm.
more. You know, but the time and place. We can't be doing it on a one-run ball game. You know,
Right.
tying run on third. You know, just make the out.
But would you say if you were up like 10-0 and then you were doing trick plays, wouldn't that be like unsportsmanlike? Like you're big leaguing it, you're showing them up.
No, because you're not showing them up. See, me, okay, so we kind of just had this talk from this kids tournament. Every kid that hit a home run pimped the crap out of that home run with a huge bat flip. And we were like, and the other team and parents would kind of get a little butt hurt. And on our side,
Mm-hmm.
we're celebrating. But we were saying how there's a difference between showing them up and celebrating with your team and like being proud of what you did.
Mm-hmm.
If I think the difference is, and of course there's going to be arguments on it. The difference is, I think you show the pitcher up or the team up by staring down the pitcher or their dugout or someone on their team while actively doing a bat flip or a celebration. Whereas you celebrate with a bat flip and you're looking into your dugout and yelling at your teammates saying let's go, or like a chest, bump. I think there's a
Mm-hmm.
difference where it's like, no, I'm proud of what I did. The guys are proud I did it for my team, compared to, here, fuck you, pitcher, I'm staring at you like you're just staring at them. So I think there's a
Mm-hmm.
total difference. Same as a trick play. It's like, I don't think you're showing them up. You're just having fun. Like why can't we just have fun?
Hmm.
Like, why can't it be seen as I caught it between my legs, like I'm just having fun because I know I can do it. It's not a like I don't see it as showboating, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think it might even bring like more
It'll bring fans to the game.
competition to the game in the
Yeah.
way that like if I hit a routine sack fly and I think that the center fielder might backflip to try to catch it, I'm gonna run it out because it's
Yeah,
more of
because
a
you're like
chance
if
that
he
he's gonna
drops
miss
it,
it. Were
exactly.
you ever
It,
like worried about executing your trick plays?
uh, when we were getting pushed to do trick plays in August of 2022, which was right after the Seven City Tour in 2022 during the spring. So we had like a little August series of 6 games. And we were getting pushed to do trick plays, like, hey, like we need to, like step it up in the field. I was very hesitant. I think I did one. I think I was one for three of trick plays, maybe one for four. So I missed some pretty crucial ones. And then that off season, I just practiced a lot, and then come the 2023 tour, I would do it as if I was catching everyone. I missed maybe two or three, but I had like 25 trick plays.
Mm-hmm.
Before things ended, I probably would have led the outfield at the rate I was going in trick plays. Um, I think I still hold the record for most trick plays as an outfielder in one game. But yeah, I think the fear of failure uh, disappeared for the greater good of wanting to create a show and wanting to also entertain people, but also wanting to showcase my athleticism and skills.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm realizing, I mean, you go in the outfield, like how boring is it to go in practice and a coach is just hitting you pop flies and you just got to catch it normal? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why? Like, if you know you can do that, then why are you practicing that? Like, as a natural athlete, you're gonna go in the game and just catch it how you need to catch it. But maybe in practice, work on something new because you never know when you're gonna need to do some sort of acrobatic play, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
only helps.
100%.
With a
Yeah, I think
softball, a little different, a bigger ball. I mean, I feel like there's less
yeah.
room for error because it's a bigger ball and you're trying to place it perfectly. I don't know. That's just
I
me.
mean, from having taken like fungo fly balls, softball on a softball field and like playing baseball, it just the baseball hangs in the air for so much longer. I feel like you have a lot of time to think and decide on what you want to do. Um, yeah, I think you have a little
Yeah.
bit more time to react
No,
and set
yeah,
yourself
yeah.
up for it. Yeah.
Yeah, whereas softball, you're playing on a 200-foot field, and the ball's coming at you within 2 seconds. And
Mhm.
even as an infielder, like a sharply hit ground ball, you don't really have time to do a trick play because the bases are so short, and you girls are so damn freaking fast.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
5 steps, you're at the base, so it's like you don't have time or room for error.
No, you don't. Like, yeah, if you double pump or, bobble it
Mm-hmm.
a little bit, she's safe.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Like, what is your position?
I am left-handed. So growing up, I always played left-handed tall. So I played first base. And I still do. I started catching when I was like 14 after begging, pleading for like 7 years to try catching, but all of my coaches were like, "No, you're lefty, you can't catch." But then when I finally
I
was able to
hate that.
catch, it was like, I know. But it was super important for my entire career that I kept asking to catch, and then eventually I was able to, and I got a Division I scholarship as a catcher. So thank God I went that route. And
Hmm.
then in college, I had like started out with a very long history of back problems, which I still have now. So I started like transitioning into the outfield, um, and got pretty good at that too. So I'm first base, catcher, outfield.
Well, as a fellow lefty, I
Hmm.
will say I caught as a kid. I played short, played first, pitched, and played outfield. I will say biasly that lefties are more athletic than a righty. And I see way more left-handed catchers now, even in
Yeah.
college, as a
Hmm.
softball player, so that's really cool to see because for some reason I think lefty or righty as a catcher in softball it doesn't matter because they're both being thrown from underhand from the same slot, whereas baseball you have 1,000 different angles from the lefty and
Hmm.
and the righty side. And I mean, I struggled catching a 12-year-old this past weekend as a lefty, so I can see it. I can see why a righty has the advantage and the skill set. And I also don't like squatting for 9 innings a game. So,
Yeah.
um,
I
yeah.
don't know.
But let's see. Italy. Where else have you played? Like,
I played
does
in
your league in Italy stay in Italy, or do you get to travel
No,
throughout
we're
throughout the
just
countries?
the National Softball League of Italy. So we just stay in Italy, and it's mostly northern Italy that has the Division One teams. So we hardly ever even travel to the south. Um, but I've played in leagues in Switzerland, Italy, Holland, and New Zealand, and then I've played tournaments in Spain and Australia and in Canada with Team USA and in America.
Favorite favorite country?
I really enjoyed New Zealand. I lived in Auckland, so it's like a beautiful city, but also very tropical, like paradise. It was very much like
Mm-hmm.
Hawaii, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you learn the haka?
no, I didn't learn it. That would be like, I felt like that would be cultural appropriation if I ever did the haka. So I never
No,
learned it, but I loved all of that stuff.
no, it's not. Polynesians, any island Pacific Islander, we're so against that woke culture that it doesn't matter if you're white, black, purple, Asian. Like, if you want to learn something, like that is almost a gift to us from you to be like, wow, your culture's so badass. Like, I want to learn. I want to learn that
Hmm.
dance. So if you did it, that'd be pretty badass. Like, did you get
I
a?
have seen it done because I watched the New Zealand Black Sox, which is their men's softball team. They're one of the best men's fast pitch
Mhm.
softball national teams in the world, and I got to watch. That was like a World Cup year or some type of big tournament year that I was there, so I got to watch that and watch them do it.
Did you
Men's
get to
softball is
watch?
another freaking sport, man.
Well, did you get to watch their rugby? Because their rugby is pretty freaking sick too. Like they have one
Yeah,
of the
no, not in
best,
person. No, they definitely are.
and most of them have some crazy ass tattoos, like the tribal ones.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't play baseball, football, or basketball, I maybe would have gotten into rugby and moved my life full time to New Zealand.
hmm If I didn't mess up my back so bad, I definitely would have tried rugby by now.
What did you do to mess up
Yeah.
the back? Because I got a
It's
guy for
more
that. I know a guy that you could go to if you fly to Phoenix, Arizona. There's a guy out in Scottsdale. I'll tell you the rest after you tell me what exactly happened, because maybe it's so
okay,
bad he can't even help you.
maybe. So it started in 2015 when I initially got my MRI and was diagnosed with four herniated discs in my lumbar vertebrae and arthritis in my SI joints, as well as like degenerative disc disease, which is obviously part of the
Oh,
disc herniations.
jeez.
And it wasn't like I had done something and felt all of that all of a sudden. It was more like gradually over time I felt more and more sore and tight, and then I was starting to feel nerve pain. And I was a freshman in
Mm.
college, like trying to earn a spot. So I was working really hard, lifting too heavy. It was the first time I had ever really lifted before at that age, and was just doing too much too quickly. And then it was a little bit of negligence on the coaching staff where they were like, oh, you're not really hurt, you're just sore, and like bad work ethic, low pain tolerance. Like they threw the whole book at me.
And this and
uh
this is at what age this all started?
like 18 or 19.
Okay, so right out of high school.
Yeah,
Okay.
first year of college. um and yeah, and then I
Okay.
was diagnosed with all of that. So then I still continued to play. I got surgery in 2017 on one of the disc herniations because it was pressing it was creating so much sciatica for such a long period of time, because it was 2 years at that point, that the muscle in my right calf was deteriorating and starting to essentially turn off, like to die. So I like didn't have the push off that I used to off of that one leg, and I had noticed it, and they were like, "Yeah, we need to do surgery because you're gonna like lose the ability to use your right leg." Yeah. And that was like 8 years
So
ago
are
now.
you
So.
are you an amputee? Are you missing a leg and you have this realistic real leg now on, and
Right.
you're actually playing professional softball with a amputated leg or with
Right.
a prosthetic?
Basically.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
So but it's just since then it's been like keeping your core strong, like basic physical therapy, um, sometimes medicine if it gets really bad
Hmm.
to just curb the pain and the inflammation, but it hasn't been anything super serious since then, thankfully. I've still been
No,
able
but
to play and
this,
everything, so.
you can't say that's not super serious. Like that's serious for I'm gonna say you've been dealing with this for over 6 years now.
Mhm.
Like, and it still bothers you.
Yeah. Oh, it's chronic, yeah. But it's also like when you have a spinal injury like that, there's no
Hmm.
cure for it. I will always have herniated discs for the rest of my life.
No, no, I don't believe that.
And
I don't believe that. With the right amount of money, anything can be cured.
yeah, right. Yeah, that's
Look at
true.
Magic
Have
Johnson.
a
Come on,
spinal
come on.
transplant.
Oh, somehow he's still alive.
That's hilarious.
Well, no, well, I was fortunate enough to go to a CPI, is a stem cell institute out in Tijuana. So for the right price, you could in as far as what I've heard and seen, people have been healed from disc degeneration,
Hmm.
um, knee. So instead of having like a knee replacement, they put stem cells there, and they grew back cartilage, and the ligaments got stronger. Um, so there is a way for you to be healed. If you want to go the
Mhm.
therapeutic therapy way, you could go see my good friend Dr. Sean Drake and his partner Michael Kowalski, who is a endurance athlete and has done over 10 Ironmans and will attempt a half Ironman in April. And he just missed out on doing an Ultraman because one of his buddies bailed on him and he didn't have a crew. But you go see Athlete Empowered in Scottsdale, Arizona, and they will personally bring your life back together. And
Amazing.
he's got they're very holistic, but yet innovative with their technology that they use. And so, if you're ever in the vicinity of that, hit me up. I'll get you in touch, and they will take care of you gladly. Because they also do. So when I went a couple of times, they do a race car driver.
Hmm.
For back problems and stuff, because you're sitting in a car. So they were doing treatment on a race car driver. They do golfers. They do a bunch of big leaguers. Some of them don't even have anything wrong. They just enjoy the
Mhm.
recovery and the treatment. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would like to see you play until you're 40, if that's your goal. If not, you better have a winery, set up. Because that would be a pretty cool life. You could go do baseball, softball lessons during the day, check out your winery, go back and forth.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I don't think you're leaving Italy very soon, correct?
Yeah, and I have the land here to do. I mean, I'm renting here, but we have like a nice plot of land to make a garden and a winery. So we've thought about it excessively
Now,
already.
when are you gonna buy in Italy then and stop renting? Or is there a law on foreigners? Well, you're not a foreigner, so it's like it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So in order, like they don't have credit score here. That's a very American thing, but instead they have this like term for your employment called like indeterminato, and that's like in undetermined contract. So you have a full-time contract, and it's not you have a job for the foreseeable future. That's how they get loans for things like houses here. So without like a
They just want to
career
make sure
set in
that you're
stone here,
stable with a job.
yeah. Yeah. And even if like you find an employer that will sign you off as that, and then they like, you don't actually work for them, like that, I'm sure that happens too here because it's really just a
So,
piece of paper. But
so you
yeah,
just get
so without that,
BBJO
I
to
can't
sign
like
off.
get a loan. Right, exactly.
Yeah, you just get
Exactly.
BBJO to sign off, and then you're set.
Mhm.
Now,
Yeah.
what makes tell our listeners what makes BBJO not just an alternative to continuing a baseball career and playing overseas, but what makes it kind of more of a priority to continue a career and not just a secondary or third pick of the litter.
I mean, I think if you're like not planning on staying in sports, then it at the very least is a great way to culture yourself and meet tons of different people, get exposed to different languages, just like the psychological and sociological aspect of it. It's just the lessons that you learn by traveling, especially alone, and putting yourself in all of these new environments where you then have to like cooperate, assimilate, and play with a team in a different country. It takes a lot of self-awareness, and then like a lot of self-discovery as well. So I think just it's such a valuable experience for anybody, but especially if you want to build your resume in order to stay in sports and to coach, or even to do something with like media marketing or something long term, you could like find that within a club too. But for me, it's like I would have never gotten this opportunity with the Phillies if it wasn't for BBJO and for playing overseas. And I 100% believe that. So, yeah.
So you're saying I can become a big league manager just through BBJO?
Absolutely. Yeah. I might be on that
Like,
path, you know.
is BBJO guaranteeing me a major league coaching contract?
I mean, of course not. Like we have to tell everybody
It's not the words I wanted to hear.
guarantee any. You gotta be built that way to begin with, you know.
Or build
But
in, or grow into it. There's always a way. You don't just go, yeah. There's a way.
yeah.
If there's a will, there's a way. But
Mhm.
BBJO can give you that platform, that support, that
Yeah.
can further any kind of career or path that you may want to take, either
100%.
culturally, baseball wise, knowledge wise. I mean, anything. Travel if you just want to travel. So,
Mhm.
so what the hell do I pack? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I look at the weather and it's freezing. It's 40s and 50s for the next however many weeks. I only get 2 bags to check in. Obviously, one's all baseball stuff, so there's doesn't leave
Mhm.
much room for fashion.
Pack like anything that's versatile, like you wear it in different seasons, and then just like your favorite stuff. I'm sure you're gonna go shopping while you're there and buy a whole new wardrobe like throughout the course of the season. So, but you do have to
so
pack
I-
like a little
so
bit of everything.
so would
For
it be
me, it's
safe?
always the shoes, always the shoes, because I want to have
Well,
like a good variety of footwear for every occasion, and it never works out.
women, it's
Yeah.
always shoes and accessories. For men, I want to say it's always about the t-shirts. And I guess if you're into shoes, like a lot of guys love their Jordans or love a nice styling shoe. But for me, I wear the same freaking shoe every day, unless it's for an occasion. But that's like a what if. That's a less than 50% what if occasion. Other than that, I'm wearing the same thing every day. But I like to have 1,000 shirts. It might be 1,000 of the same shirt, but it's in 1,000 different colors.
Yeah.
So, and then you try to pack the warm stuff for this cold weather, but that takes up 30 pounds of your suitcase, and you only have 20 pounds left before you're upcharged out of the ass by these airlines, and doesn't leave me much
Wear it.
much room for
A lot of the
options.
time, like for the flight itself, a lot of the time I'll wear like 5 layers, just so that
Gosh.
like my suitcases aren't as big, and then I'll take them off and use it as like cushioning so that I can lay
How do
down and have a
you,
good
how do
flight.
you, I like to assume that an overseas flight is not a crowded flight.
Sometimes it can be. Like New York to Milan tends to be crowded. I
Okay.
always use Emirates, and normally, for some reason, with Emirates, it's not as crowded, and you can almost
Mm.
always find an empty row. And then instead of paying for your seat online, I would go up to the ticket counter
And
to
that's to
check
change
in
it.
and
Yeah.
ask them to change the seat. Yeah. And you have
Hmm.
to like kind of bat your eyelashes at them and
Yeah,
be a little
you
cute
almost
with
just play stupid and you play cute and be like,
it.
"Oh my gosh, can you help me?" Like,
Yeah.
whatever. Like I have a bad knee and a bit like for you, I got a bad back and I need
Yeah.
an extra seat next to me and some leg room. Can you help? Like I
Hmm.
totally get it. I travel a lot domestically, not internationally, but no, I know all the tricks of the trade. Another one, if you want to take liquids bigger than 3.5 ounces, freeze it, and it goes through TSA.
Oh my God. That's genius.
So smoothie, I need my smoothie. Freeze the smoothie, and you take it out of the freezer right before you head to the airport, so it doesn't melt too fast. That they're like, oh yeah, nope, sorry, it's too liquid now. But yeah,
Hmm.
freeze any liquid. Obviously, you can't freeze alcohol. Unless it's a beer. But I mean, I have yet to try a frozen beer through TSA, but I don't know how that would work. I don't want to
Yeah.
know,
I think
but
they're
it's worth a
changing
try.
that though. I feel like they're getting more lenient about liquids on flights. And you're like, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
not as
you
bad
do
as it used
that,
to
and
be.
no one's gonna. Those restaurants and bars and airports aren't gonna make money because then everyone's gonna
Hmm.
bring their own. So America is profit first, people last.
Yeah.
Um, So we'll see how it goes. As long as there's no control of where and when we can fly in this country, then I think we'll be okay for now.
I was super lucky during the pandemic to have my Italian passport and to obviously be an American citizen because I was flying back and
Uh,
forth on empty
where,
flights, like whole planes to
okay,
myself.
where did you spend 2020 COVID? Like when it hit, were you in Italy or were you here and you're like, oh, screw this. America's like shutting down. I got no freedoms. I'm going to Europe now.
So I got to Italy in March, and then we knew like that there was going to be a lockdown. They were saying it was only going to be 2 weeks, but we were calling
Right. And
bullshit.
everyone, it just
So
goes 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks.
yeah, so like early on in March, before they locked down, I told my team I would like to go home because we knew that the league was going to be suspended. And the excuse I gave was that my twin brother is a Marine and he was supposed to ship out somewhere, like Ukraine or somewhere. And I was like, he's going to be home on leave. So can I just go home to see him? Because I don't know when I'm ever going to see him again. And they're like, okay, yeah, go home. So he ended up actually being like part of the Marine group that like I don't know anything about like military terms,
Reserves?
but
Was he part of like
he
reserves?
no, I mean he's
Uh,
like active, but he's active military. But he was guarding the ship that was in the like Hudson River Harbor in New York City
okay.
that was like for hospital relief. So my mom and me actually went into the city and saw him, and like New York City was absolutely empty, like
Ghost
abandoned,
town. Wow.
which was so crazy to see. But yeah, so then the next couple months I stayed in New York, and then we started up in July. So I was like one of the only Americans, the only other ones that like had European passports to be able to fly back to Europe for the season. So we had almost no imports that year in 2020.
But
So
you
I
could
hit like
play.
500.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but you could play because you're
Yeah,
not an import.
right.
So when did they even start a season there then? Like, did
We
they
only
have a
had
regular
20
full season?
games.
No.
Yeah, no, we had 20 games and it was just like July, August, maybe the first part of September, and then we were done.
And it's just like a normal schedule too, like you're just playing the weekends.
Yeah.
Was
Hmm.
was mask wearing mandatory?
Yes. And you couldn't spit. And there were like, so mask wearing was mandatory in the dugout, not in the field, but you couldn't spit. and I'd be playing first base and just like breathing, and then like a gnat would fly into the back of my throat because we're in Italy and it's super hot and humid and buggy. And then I would like, I'm not gonna swallow the bug, so I'd spit it
No,
out,
so
and
you
the umpire would say something.
teed up. You got teed up.
Yeah.
Did anyone ever get thrown out of the game because they were so strict on the mask that if you didn't cover your nose, that they would see ya?
No, none of that.
Like were they strict where like you came up to bat and the mask was only covering here? Would they be like in Italian, however they say it, pull it up?
I think maybe the federation at a point kind of cracked down on the umpires because they were the ones that had to regulate it, and they were just too busy trying to be a good umpire that they weren't really
Right,
concerned
right.
if we were wearing
They
our
didn't
masks
care. Yeah.
correctly. Yeah. But yeah.
Now, what
No.
about testing? Did you guys get tested before every game or just once a week?
I was also with the Italian national softball team at that point, and we got tested because we were like doing the whole bubble thing whenever we went to camp or anything. So I was getting tested so much. I don't think we really had to get tested for the season. Like definitely before the season started, but then throughout the season, I don't think it was like a weekly thing. Yeah, I don't remember.
But you hit 500 because there's no competition there. And it sounds like, so you played 20 games. How many bombs?
I don't think I had any that year. I don't swing for the fences. I really
Are you one of those lefty slap hitters?
No, I'm not a slapper. I'm just very line drive. I have a very level swing. I'm not like up shooting,
Well,
No,
so. Okay. Well, let's keep that same swing. Let's just get the contact point out in front. Okay,
yeah.
party out front. That's where the money's made. Out front, stay through it. Okay, you got a nice big barrel.
I know, but they almost only exclusively throw me outside.
Well, then you're gonna have to hit some aqua tanks.
I know.
Or you get up on the plate and you say, okay, throw me outside. I'm still pulling this bitch 500 feet. So
yeah, but you'll find out very quickly that the European strike zone is extremely wide. So when I say outside, it was in the other batter's box.
Oh shit!
100%.
Right. Well, it looks like I might actually be thrown out for the first time in my career because of a strike zone. This is going to be rough. Like if you're saying the baseball strike zone is going to be just as wide as the softball strike zone, then I'm in trouble.
Softball might be worse. Might be a little bit worse, but baseball's not good. Yeah.
Well, I also think they don't put the best umpires to umpire softball games.
I don't know if it's like the same pool of
umpires. Are they interchangeable? Yeah. The softball and baseball umpires, like, have you heard of anything, or does BBJO oversee any umpire stuff? Like, here's a good question. Does BBJO help umpires go overseas to
we don't.
no?
No, we don't.
Like,
but
why
just
not,
having
though?
seen baseball games, I haven't seen any umpires that I recognize from softball games. So I'm pretty sure it's like they choose which sport they want to umpire.
Well,
I don't think. Like within Italy, all of the umpires are Italian, and it's not like you can really like house an umpire because it's a lot of traveling too.
Right.
And the federation would have to house them. It just wouldn't be of their interest to bring over American umpires, although that would make the league better.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't have an argument against that. I do have an argument for Italy wanting to keep Italian umpires. It's just to keep Italy kind of thing. Like, let's create more jobs for Italian people. Like, why? Like, we're already bringing in some Americans to play, but let's keep it to where the culture stays the same instead of importing other umpires and slowly Americanizing it. Because that's what makes the overseas baseball special. It's like it's a whole different culture, and the more you start bringing Americans over there, we all see what happened once America got colonized, and it turns to shit. So let's not put something good turn to shit. So, last subject I kind of want to talk about. You're gonna go try out for Team USA, which is the girls' baseball team, though.
Hmm.
Is there like a World Baseball Classic kind of deal for that? Like is
It's
there
just the
a
World Cup. Yeah, it's the World Cup.
and so do you play like Team Italy, Team Germany that all have these women's baseball teams?
So there's less countries that have women's baseball team. Italy does not have a women's baseball team. I don't really know what European countries do, but I know the ones that are going to be in the World Cup, I believe, I don't want to be wrong about this, but I know that like the best women's baseball teams are Puerto Rico, Mexico, Canada, Australia, Japan. Japan has like women's baseball is a thing in Japan, also in
Oh, they're
Australia, it's a
nasty.
thing. Yeah.
Women are nasty. They're really good in Japan.
Hmm. So we're going to be up against some really good competition because these women play baseball year round, and obviously we don't have that opportunity to do so.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Because you gotta go from softball and then everyone goes to baseball, right?
We have
Kind
a
of thing.
couple of girls that are playing men's college baseball. A few girls on our team.
No way.
Like, do you know who
Like they're playing
Olivia
right
Pichardo
now.
is? Yeah, Olivia Pichardo plays for Brown University baseball. She's like the
Uh,
big one. She's been on Eric Sims's YouTube videos and stuff like
hmm.
that. And we have a couple of other girls that either have played in
The
baseball in
only
college.
girl that got really big was the first MLB coach to go, and I don't even know the names. I'm so bad with names. And then the girl that pitched in the Atlantic League. Like that's like the two big ones
Kelsey
that I know.
Whitmore, yeah, she's on
Yeah.
our team. She's been
She'll be
looking to
playing.
play overseas. Yeah.
Okay.
She was with the Ferry Hawks in the Atlantic
Yeah.
League for I think two
Hmm.
seasons, and I believe she's still unsigned now. So I don't know if she's going back, but she's a BBJO member too, so she's been looking for any and all opportunities just to weigh all of her options. But I'd love to see her go somewhere overseas. That'd be dope. Yeah.
But would she go overseas to play baseball or overseas to play softball?
Baseball. She played softball at College of or at Fullerton.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But she's strictly baseball now. She like her I think she's 25 or 26. Her goal is to make it to the MLB as the first female like
Baseball
MLB
player.
player. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, as a baseball guy, what are your thoughts of, okay, she wants to do that, but yeah, biologically she's not as fast or strong or whatever as a
I think
guy in
if
the
we wanted
MLB.
to I think if we wanted to
Like,
scour
where
the
would she
earth
fit
for
in?
the best female prospects available and turn them into baseball players, we could absolutely find a female that is more than capable of playing in the MLB. She might be 6'6", like from
That's what I'm
wherever
saying. Like,
corner of the
well,
world,
so,
But
okay,
I think
but
that like it can definitely happen. There just hasn't been the development and the
yeah,
pipeline for it to get there. It has to be. There has to be a system in place for it to
I'm
happen,
not
in
saying
my
it's not
opinion.
gonna happen. I'm just
Yeah.
saying we need basically the avatar of women to even to even have a chance or be considered and to get into MLB. I mean, it's just facts. I mean, you don't see any women trying to go play in the NFL. You do see
Right.
you do
You do
see
see women playing football though.
you do see a man saying he's a woman go and swim, and now there's a whole dispute about that. I mean, we can go that whole route, but we're not, and we're gonna keep it as until we get a 6'6", 220-pound female to go showcase a 95 fastball and exit velo of
Hmm.
95 plus, then we can consider, her going up against some of the best pitching and best hitting.
I mean, I think the large majority of like baseball people don't understand that like a woman's transition from playing softball, fast pitch softball her whole life and then playing baseball, if done properly, like if I didn't have all of my physical ailments and did it when I was younger and not now
Mm-hmm.
27 years
Mm-hmm.
old, I think I would have been really, really good at baseball. But
Mhm.
even like working with the Phillies last year and being able to prepare at the complex 14 USA events, I was
Mhm.
facing like pitching coaches that would get up on the mound and throw to me because they're super nice and love like to just fuck around,
They.
after the day's
Mhm.
over, but throwing like 91 at me. And so me being able to see that and understand the reaction time and stuff, it's not like he was blowing my doors off with 91.
No, I mean you're basically seeing 95 at what is softball pitching? 60 feet?
95
No,
plus, yeah.
no. But like,
It's
what's the distance?
so
45 feet.
43 feet, but
43.
now in softball they're able to jump off the mound like crow hop. So by the time
When
they
did they change
release the
that rule?
ball,
Because I thought you always had to
within
stay
like 2
connected to the
years.
ground.
In college, you did. Internationally, it was never a rule that you had to stay connected to the ground. But in college now,
Oh,
you're
this is
allowed to crow hop
fucked.
as well.
I think
Yeah. So when they
I
release it,
think
they're
you need to
like
back
55.
you need to back the mound up at least 2 feet.
Yeah, they're like 38 feet away from you by the time they
I
release the
mean,
ball, going
because
70 miles
softball,
an
like
hour.
it's already not. It's getting there, but it's not an offensive sport, like because the pitching can be so dominant at times, and the home runs, come and go unless you got Jocelyn Alo and Kelly Majum back in my years in 2010, 11, 12, blasting off. But I mean, let's juice the balls like we do in baseball. Let's juice the bats and let's get some, let's get some excitement in the game of softball.
Mhm.
I mean, because
Mhm.
even in baseball, the pitching is getting so dominant. It's like the only way to make offense exciting is juicing the baseball, and that's what they do in the
Mhm.
big leagues. And maybe they're going to have to start allowing corked bats. I mean, who knows? Or rebuild every stadium into something smaller.
I think the technology behind pitching in baseball is just super advanced now, and hitting has to catch up. So there's just a learning curve. I think pitchers are more like, not to say that they're more intelligent, but they're just like they think about the metrics a lot more often and their mechanics and spin rate
Yeah,
and all that stuff, and they're figuring out ways to get hitters out. That hitters now have to learn how to hit that pitch, otherwise you're just going to keep getting out.
right.
And so far, like now, it's the high fastball that is up out of the zone by the time it gets to you, but you don't realize, or you don't have the
Yeah,
hands to
well, it's
get to
because
it. It's at the top of the zone.
hmm
So.
well, it's because we're teaching kids how to hit the wrong way. We're teaching the launch angle method of, um, it's not necessarily dropping your shoulder, but that's kind of what it looks like. We're trying to get under a
Mhm.
ball, whereas it's more of a thought process of swinging down to level out the swing.
Mhm.
Um, so I think when it comes down to pitching and hitting, you can have all the technology, but do you have the mental toughness, the mental attitude to, you know what? It's see ball, hit ball as a hitter and get a good pitch to hit and swing hard in case you hit it. And as a pitcher, it's first pitch strikes, and then you work off of that and you see what a hitter's tendencies are. Like as
Mhm.
much spin rate and curve and movement you can have to a pitch, it doesn't do any good if you're not throwing strikes, right? So
Mhm.
I mean, we can have all the technology, but if you can't do the basics, then technology really is pointless.
Yeah. The whole like Albert Pujols hitting off of Jenny Finch, it's not that like if he got 100 at bats off of Jenny Finch, he would get used to it, and eventually he
Oh
would hit it,
yeah,
and
he'll
people
get
talk
one.
about how it was just that element of unfamiliarity that made him look so silly because he just could
Hmm.
not even pick up the ball out of the hand. It was at a slot that
Yeah,
he
I
had never
mean,
seen a ball come from before. So,
it's
and like
impossible.
his timing and all of that. So it's definitely, I think the pitchers that are the most successful now are the ones that look different and they don't have like a perfect fastball that
No.
goes exactly where
Hmm.
you want it to go type of stuff. um, they mix it up better. So.
It's the pitchers with funk that are
Mhm.
actually accelerating now. So it's cool to see, how the game's changed and people are learning how to be different instead of pitching one way and hitting one way.
Mhm.
Um, Last question before we leave. What is and I've been asking this to my last couple guests. What is your ultimate life dream?
Ooh. Hmm. Um, I think like the reason why I love coaching and I just love this game in general is seeing how much it changes people's lives. And I had never imagined for myself when I was little or even when I was in college, like getting ready to go overseas, all of the places that I've been, all the people that I've met, and all of the doors that have opened for me, just because I was a good player and essentially, like, especially a good hitter. So I think
Hmm.
like if I were to be at the end of my life and look back and feel fulfilled, it's because I know that I helped so many people reach their highest ceilings and the peaks of their potential, and saw how that also rewarded me and filled me up, and opened more doors for me as well. Because like what comes around goes around 100%. So hopefully, like to live somewhere beautiful, to have enough money in my pocket, feel comfortable, and feel like I did good in this world. You know.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Because I see you as a helper, as a supporter, also a player, but someone that has so much knowledge and so much knowledge to give. And I see where your heart's at. And I'm not there yet because I want to freaking play so badly every day of my life. But after this 12U kids tournament, it's about helping out the younger generation and being a part of something that you love as long as you can, and just to help continue growing the game, but also growing the lives of others, not even just in a sport, but just in life in general, and just helping them navigate their own dreams and goals. And so
Mhm.
I appreciate of what you want to do and what you will do, and you will get everything you've ever dreamt of. So keep dreaming, keep chasing, keep striving, and keep thriving.
I love
So
that. Thanks for the support, man.
no, of course, and I'll be in the same time zone soon enough, and we'll be in touch. I can't wait to see all the success that is coming your way in Italy, and
Mhm.
even more in your tryout, which I know you'll make it for Team USA. And a big thank you to you for being on the No Filter Network on episode 15, I think. Yeah. Shoot, I've been doing so many, I lose track, but thank you for being on Peeling the Banana. Really appreciate the time you took and the patience for me to get on. Um, so big shout out to BBJL, Sarah Edwards, Eric Burns, the No Filter Network, and where lastly can all the listeners follow you at or find you social media.